Your turn, Yugi boy.
What is up, guys? This is Linthio coming at you with an updated deck profile of my Fluffal / Frightfur deck for the new April 2016 Forbidden Unlimited list. Now, we have a interesting deck, as you can see, and I'll go straight into it. I haven't done a Fluffal deck in a while. I think I only did one originally, so since the new list came out, thought it was high time to update it. So starting us off, we have the 3 Fluffal mouse. You basically have to play 3 of this bad boy, simply because you can special summon 2 other copies, special summon up to 2 copies of itself, which gives it nice fuel for things like Frightfur Tiger, for extra pops and all that stuff. So really great card, and just in general, really nice to play with. So moving on, we have the 3 copy of Fluffal Dog, basically our little Stratos for the deck. When he is normal or special summoned, you can add a Edge Imp Sabers or a Fluffal monster from your deck to your hand. So a lot of the time you'll be using a lot of different plays with this deck, which will be kind of revolving around Fluffal Dog. He is a nice Naturia Beast target if you do want to play him, if you want to play like thing like a Gloat Bulb or anything like that. It's completely down to yourself. Personally, I don't, because I just kept drawing into the Gloat Bulb really dead, and there's no real decent ways to get him to the deck, get him to the graveyard in this deck. Apart from things like Toy Vendor, but that's about it. You have to draw into it, and how often do you really want to draw into a Gloat Bulb and things like this. So it's up to you. If you do want, you can side it in, but with Pepe arguably being fairly dead, only things like Monarch really use a lot of spells, so it's completely down to yourself, but I'd say you side into it. Next up, we have the 3 Bear. Bear's good just because, you know, it gets you your Toy Vendor, and things with like Fluffal Wings, which I play 2 of. You know, it's a really good combo, really good draw power. And, you know, it was kind of funny because when Toy Vendor first came out, it was a bit of a rubbish card. But with the addition of Wings, really solid. So I play 3 Bear just for like deck thin, and obviously 2 Wings to get off that combo as well. Next up, we have 2 Sheep. Sheep has multiple functions in the deck, and it's really good. You can special summon it out if you have an other Fluffal monster apart from itself. And you can return one other Fluffal monster to your hand to basically special summon out a Edge Imp card from your graveyard or your hand. So a lot of the time you'll be using it to get one of your Edge Imps from your graveyard so you can go into a successful fusion summon. So really good card. 2 has been really great, and if you want, it's a rank 2. You know, if you really want to do rank 2s. I personally don't, but yeah. So next up we have the 1 Fluffal Owl. Only play the 1 simply because it clogs a lot, and while it is good at getting polymerization from your deck, and also, you know, you can pay 500 life points to do the same thing. It's just kind of a little bit slow now, and I found a lot of the time I would be drawing it annoyingly dead. So Fluffal Owl at 1 has actually been working really well, and for me it's the most optimum. And then 1 Fluffal Cat. I like Fluffal Cat because it means you can extend a lot of different plays using Cat and, for example, any other Edge Imp to go into a certain card, and then being able to get the polymerization back from your graveyard because you have just used it with Cat. Means that you can then go into other different plays. So it is a really nice one-of, and that's all it really is. I don't play the other one where you can add Fluffal or Frightfur, whichever one it is, just because I don't really like it. You can get many of them to your hands, no problem at all. The problem is the polymerization, so that's why I've got Cats in here for that. Next up, we have 3 Edge Imp Chain. Chain is one of the best ones. Being able to attack, add itself another copy of itself when it goes to graveyard. You can get a Frightfur card from your deck to your hand. So you're normally going for that Frightfur fusion just for extension of plays and nice OTKs. So Edge Imp is a really good card with a 3 of, and that's the best way that I've found to run it. And the other Edge Imp that I do play is Sabers. I don't play any of the other ones, just because they really annoyed me when I was playing them. They clogged, and you know, it's all right if you do want to like tech in a couple of one-offs, but having these 2 mains at 5 is really nice. And I haven't really found a problem with running them. I haven't run into any inconsistency issues. I've always been able to make fusion summons, so I haven't really had any problems with it at all. Next up, we have the 3 King of the Swamp. This card's just great in here because, you know, you discard it to get a polymerization from your deck to your hand, so nice deck thinning, as well as being able to use it as one of your fusion summons. So, you know, if you want to go into, if you need like a Frightfur, you can use things like that. So it's really, really nice. And that is basically the monster lineup. Don't play any hand traps in this one just because it's more of an OTK-based deck. Next up, we have the 3 Frightfur Fusion, one of the best cards in the game for this deck, really. Being able to just banish your targets to special summon out a Frightfur Fusion, well, basically fusion summon a monster, is really, really nice. And, you know, you will get to this with things like Edge Imp Chain and all that, so it's pretty accessible. It's a nice card to have, and just seeing it as early as possible is nice. There are some slight worries at drawing multiple ones in your opening hands. Can leave you with possible dead hands, but that's the risk you should really willing to take. You can technically, if you want, put it down to 2, but when I had it at 2, I just didn't see it enough. And normally it is live. You have to be very unlucky for it not to be live, in my opinion. So that's why I play 3. Then we have 3 Toy Vendor. Toy Vendor is just decent simply because of your Fluffal Wings play with also Bear. You have full targets for it, which is really, really nice. And, you know, just getting certain cards out your hand to draw a card is also quite nice. You don't normally use it for that effect because it's a bit of a risk if you do get a Fluffal monster, because then you can special summon a card from your hand, a monster from your hands, but other than that, you're only really using it for the fact when it's sent to the graveyard, you can add Edge Imp or Fluffal monster from your deck to your hands, and then obviously with the combo with Wings, to be able to get multiple draws. Next up, obviously, we have the 3 Polymerization. Don't really need to say too much about this. It's one of the main bread and butter cards in the deck. And, yeah, you play 3. If you're not playing 3, then it's a bit worrying. I suppose you can make the argue with the case to play 2. But, honestly, I need to play 3. If you're using things like Fusion, something or other, the trap card that allows you to add it back, then that's maybe alright. Next up, we have 2 Dark Hole and a Raigeki. So, as I said, this is more of an OTK varied deck. And I just want to clear the board, clear the way for things like Tiger to just make some pretty big hits. Or if you don't have these, obviously you do have Tiger, but it's for things like, I don't know, say Frightfur Wolf that can make a good amount of damage, a good amount of attack. So having these in here is really nice. They were better when Peppy were around because it means you could just wipe out their board and just push through them, pop their scales and that. But still a pretty decent card. If you go up against something that isn't that great, or doesn't mind monster destruction, then you can always side them out, and they are good targets to side out to make it a little bit easier. Next up, we have 2 Twin Twisters. We don't like back row, obviously, because we are more OTK based. So Twin Twister is nice. This can combo off well with Sheep if you want to maybe discard something. What often I like doing with this is using Mouse to special out other copies, then do Sheep, discard maybe like a Chain or another Edge Imp, and then you can revive Edge Imp with Sheep or anything like that. So you can just make your use of different plays with Twin Twister. It's not just solely in this deck just to remove back row. It can help you with other different plays. Next up, we have the 2 Instant Fusion. I know different editions is a bit weird, isn't it? But 2 Instant Fusion is really good because you only have you'd have 2 targets. You have Sheep and you have Norden. Norden obviously only at 1 now, so that's just kind of a thing. But I was only really ever running 1, if I'm completely honest, so it didn't really affect this deck too much. But 2 Instant Fusion are still too good because you can use it with sabers and such. Finally, we have the 1 Frightfur Factory. This is just one that I'm kind of testing out. It's been going well. Basically, if you don't know what it does, you can it's a continuous spell card. You can banish a Polymerization card, spell card, or a Fusion spell card from your graveyard, except Diffusion Wave Motion, of course. And then you basically fusion summon one of the appropriate monsters with the monsters that you control, which is really, really good. But then the other effect is when it is sent to the graveyard, this card's sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished Frightfur Fusions and basically just add it to your hand. You can only use it once per turn, but it's really nice. It's a nice little extension of your certain plays that you can make, and I really do like it. So Frightfur Factory is working out well at a 1 of, and I don't think you would need any more than 1. So going on to the extra deck, that is 40 cards. Going on to the extra deck, we have the 3 Frightfur Tiger, the card that makes this deck playable in my opinion. You need to run 3 because it's just so good. You can summon multiple copies in a duel, and if you resolve a lot of them, you should really be winning. If you resolve 1 at least, you probably should be able to OTK in that turn, but sometimes you can't because obviously it will get Solemn striked or anything like that. It's fine, it happens, but it does mean that it is other fuel for your fusion, Frightfur Fusions and all that stuff in the graveyard. So really solid card, really, really nice, and just overall a boss. Next up, we have Sabertooth. I like running Sabertooth at 2 because it's not difficult to summon. With the instant fusion going into the Frightfur sheep, it is actually really simple to summon out, and just being able to, you know, target one of your other monsters, special summon it is really, really nice. So again, you can make some really nice combos with the fact you can get sheep, get it back, and then, you know, just keep doing your plays. So Sabertooth at a 2 is not too cloggy at all. It doesn't waste any space, and often than not, I can summon 2 if I do wish. 2 sheep. Sheep is just an absolutely incredible card. Armides effect coming back at 2/8 is just so good. And, you know, in general, it's a nice instant fusion target too. So being able to access this relatively easily in the deck too is nice. Then we have some of the one-offs. One Frightfur Bear. Bear's not too bad. It's all right, you know, but it's just a nice alternative to go into if you want to maybe disrupt some of your opponent's plays. So I don't mind that. The one Frightfur Leo, being able to, you know, burn your opponent is always nice. But often than not, you won't really go into this all that much. But it is there if you need to get over a certain annoying monster. And for the Frightfurs, finally, we have one Wolf, just for the game ender. Nice use with Fluffal Mouse with this one, being able to get additional attacks. Because, you know, if you can get full materials with this, you just go pow, 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 pow. You can just win. So that is quite nice. I normally like to have Wolf as, obviously, game ender. You want to make sure to summon it when you feel you're safe enough to be able to get the attacks through. So that's why you only have one. And then the one Norden, Rip. To be fair, people only really played one. Not many people played more than that. So that's why it's not too bad. And it didn't really hurt the deck that much. Next up, just the rank 4s. We have 4 of them. We have Silent Honor Art because it's still a really good card. The number 106 Giant Hand. Obviously, it's a really nice card if you need to do some defensive plays. Some people say it's not that great anymore, but I still think it's a pretty decent card. It's just a negate for monsters, and, you know, you can't really argue with that. Your opponent has to kind of play around it, or if they need to waste any of their spell removals, you're still doing well, so it's still decent. The one Castel. You know, Castel's Castel. And then finally the one Abyss Dweller. Nice to be used with Norden for the 2/2 boost. And, you know, Burning Abyss are kind of running around. Going to be one of the high top tier decks this format. So Abyss Dweller is needed, really. It's a really decent card that will be used constantly. So if you don't have one, make sure to get it. They are nice and cheap. So that is it, guys. I hope you did enjoy the deck profile. I've got plenty more coming. Let me know down in the comment section below what you think of the deck and Fluffals / Frightfurs in general. Make sure to leave me a like, comment, subscribe, and I shall catch you guys later.